Hello guys, today I'm going to be teaching you how to play Millhouse Manastorm. Now, Millhouse is one of my favorite heroes, one of my highest win rates, so I'll be trying to teach you guys all my tips and strategies. His synergies are going to be best with elementals, dragons, and pirates. Usually going to be anything that you're going to be able to buy a lot of units with and buff those units. So these tribes all have a lot of buying and playing units in order to buff your other minions on your board. So how does Manastorm work? He is very unique where his minions actually only cost 2 gold. Usually minions cost 3, so his costs 50% less, which is a very big buff. The only con is that his refreshes are going to cost 2 instead of the normal 1, so you can't really be picky about your shop. His tavern tier increases also cost 1 more, just to balance him a little more. So what should you be doing for early game? The goal is to buy all the tokens, any econ. So if you have your alley cat, if you have the bacon relaxer, refreshing anomaly, the deck swabby, all of these that give you value, you want to buy because the minions cost 1 less, because they only cost 2. Alley cats, the Elemental, they are actually free. You get 2 minions, sell them both for 1, so you could buy them and sell them whenever for no loss in gold. So you want to buy them all when possible. Now, refreshing anomaly, extremely good on Millhouse as well, because it's actually going to be net positive, right? Instead of also just selling it for 1 gold, you also turn your 2 cost refresh into 0. Here we are getting extremely lucky in the beginning, have very good shops where we can just buy all these tokens, all these bacon relaxers for buffs. I'm actually going to want to buy that dragon as well. It's going to be really helpful to win some fights when I put some bacon relaxer gems on it. And I'm going to be looking for some pairs, I'm going to be looking for some triples that I'm going to be wanting to level up to find either 4 drops or 5 drops. Usually Millhouse is going to be extremely powerful in the early game. That's because his minions cost 50% less, so you will have 50% more minions than other people in the beginning of the game. You use this to your advantage by power spiking really strong early and then just leveling up as fast as you can with that strong power spike. So here we're on turn 3 with 5 gold. You want to level up either on this turn or on turn 4, either at 5 or 6 gold. I have a very good board. I have a pair, I have a Elemental, actually I have 2 pairs, so I am going to try to stay on this turn for 1 more, or this tier for 1 more turn. I will be leveling up next turn. You usually always want to level up on these turns in order to get a good curve for your level ups. So if you found a bad shop on turn 3, you're going to want to level up. But since I found a really great board, I do want to buy it. That's generally how you play in all your tavern tiers level ups. Like usually people say, oh, always want to level up to tier 3 on 7 gold. But again, if you have a very good shop, you generally want to buy that shop, and then you can just level up next turn. It's not a big deal because it's not worth to freeze that shop just to level up. So we are now on turn 4. As I said earlier, we do want to level up. However, I did roll here because I'm looking for a triple. Right after I have this many pairs, I definitely want to be rolling on tier 1 to find a triple. I got lucky, found my dragon triple, probably one of my best triples to find. I'm going to still level up on this turn, but I will want to freeze that board. Bacon relaxers, very value, just +2/+2 for 1 gold, so I'm going to want to buy those eventually as well. So now that I have a triple, I can freeze it. I'm going to be looking for some 5 drops because I feel very strong. If you're losing some fights, if you feel a little weaker, you probably want to find a 4 drop. Again, usually you want to play strong, so you want to be able to not take damage in order to win the game. It's pretty common sense, but a lot of people like to get a little greedy and then they tend to die. So if you get unlucky, you don't really have any wiggle room. So by being strong, having a lot of health, even if you lose these fights by getting unlucky, you still have a chance to continue fighting and eventually win that game. So now that we found our triple, we're going to be constantly leveling up. We have leveled up just last turn to tier 2. So this turn, perfect. It's going to be 7 costs. We have 7 gold. Easy. We're just going to level up again, freeze that board, and wait till the next fight. Really lucky that we found this dragon triple because we're going to be able to buff them up to really high attack, which will allow us to trade very favorably, at least allow us to win or tie these fights. So I got my buddy. I'm going to go ahead and mention what this guy does. Really good at finding triples. So after you buy a minion, add one of the same tavern tier to Bob's Tavern. So if you buy one minion from tier 1, you're going to find another minion from tier 1. It's going to be really helpful, especially when you freeze the board like with those bacon relaxers, to be able to find some triples. I'm going to level up again this turn. Again, it's going to cost the same amount of gold that I have, which will allow me to get this 5-drop. You're looking for things like Nomi, Agam's pretty good too, anything that helps you scale for the late game. Now, I got Agam. I'm just going to go ahead and pick it, which is really good with my board because I do have those two some bacon relaxers. I just need to make sure I find some tribes. I already have my dragon, my Quillbore, my beast, and my elemental, even though I don't have really premium units except for that dragon. So this is probably not going to be my end build. I'm probably not going to want to force Quillbores because they're not necessarily the best. I just want to use this to get stronger, get to tier 6 in order to find those late hitting units. So end game, you generally want to go things like if you can find dragons with Caligos, if you can find large elementals with Rag, that's really where Millhouse excels. So I have 2 pairs still. I'm going to buy all these 1-drops. I'm going to try to find more triples so that I can try to find more 5-drops, more 6-drops, eventually level up as I get stronger. The goal is to hit level 6 because with your buddy, you can just cycle through these Tavern 6 minions. If you buy a tier 6 minion, you just keep on finding more. You can eventually find the route that you want to take. So here I found 2 triples, very good. I could technically greed for finding some 6-drops, but as I've said, you want to be strong. You want to try to keep winning fights to not take too much damage. So I'm going to go ahead and just play them now. I will be finding my 6-drops eventually. I'm not worried about needing to find more triples, especially with my buddy. So got unlucky there. Had to just pick Murazon for money. Here also didn't really find things that I wanted. Kind of getting stuck on direction, but I did find Mithrax for some strength, for some tempo that I'm going to be able to play. So here I dropped down to 3 different Menagerie units. Kind of messed up here by not really finding another unit to play. So I'm just going to go ahead and try to play as many units as I can on board and try to buff them before time runs out. I do feel pretty strong now though. I'm scaling with Agam. I'm scaling with my whatever that 5-drop is called, I forget, but it scales a lot. So I feel once I'm strong enough, I will be able to level. When you're leveling to Tavern tier 5, Tavern tier 6, there's no set time where you have to level up. There's no specific time that's easy to remember, such as, oh, always level to tier 3 on 7 gold. It's pretty much just when you feel strong enough, when you feel like you're not going to be taking any damage, that's when you want to level up. So there, I felt like I got unlucky in that fight. I probably should have won it, so I'm going to go ahead and level up here. I think I'm strong enough, and I wanted to pick up a pair, a new tribe, so that I could buff them with my Agam. Couldn't find one earlier, so I was like, decided to roll, got lucky, and found a King Crush. You can see me here cycling through the alley cats because they're free. Buy one, I can just cycle for a new 1-drop. Maybe I can find some sort of pair or some sort of value. I didn't find anything, so I just went ahead and bought my King Crush. I know I said Elementals are really strong, Nomi's really good. It's a little late to transition into Nomi unless you have 2 Nomis. If you do manage to find 2 Nomis, usually you can transition as long as you have a strong enough board to help you while you transition. Here though, One Nomi is definitely not going to be enough. I think I decide to just skip past it. We're going to keep going with this Menagerie for now. Again, I don't have the most premium units, so if I want to win this game, I do need to go to level 6 in order to find things like our Amalgadons, in order to find the heavier hitters with Hook Tusk can help me out with more buffs for Agam. So I really want to go to level 6 usually.
Go ahead and hire one of these recruits.
Like if I were to find double Caligos at 6, I could transition, especially since I already have a permanent dragon unit. But there's a lot of things that you can do when you can reach 6. Especially with this dragon, it already has pretty much all the attack I'm going to need for the rest of the game. When you have that, that's pretty much a poison, right? It's pretty much a spore. If you can find Nadina guaranteeing a divine shield on that dragon, it's going to be really powerful. So definitely need to hit 6 as soon as I can.
You're doing great out there.
So I feel pretty strong. Looks like I'm gonna win this fight. So I do think about leveling up next turn. Again, Millhouse's level ups always cost 1 extra gold, so I couldn't have leveled up the previous turn.
Your minions really pulled their weight.
So here I level up. I'm gonna be Tavern tier 6, just like what I was saying earlier. I am going to be able to start cycling through those 6 drops to find some direction to hopefully help me win this game. Nothing really to buy here. If I buy something, it's probably going to make me weaker because I do want that gem from my Quillbore, so I'm just going to hold on to it for one more turn, save some money.
Keep up the momentum, friend.
So here I found my triple for my buddy. What the triple does is now, instead of cycling through another minion of the same tavern tier, you now get 2 minions from the same tavern tier. Your board does get locked down really quick though, because at tier 6 you already have 6 minions on board, so only that first purchase will you be able to find 2 minions, and then you kind of just get stuck to 1 minion for each cycle, which is not a big deal because around this time you're going to use the buddy for maybe 1 or 2 more turns. You pretty much want to get that buddy's triple and then you're going to sell it because it's a really small minion. This is about the time when people start dying that you're going to be able to take a lot of damage, so you need to start ramping up your power. So I do believe I'm probably going to sell this buddy after a turn or 2. Still buying some buffs for my Agam. I always want to buy these Tads. Tads are again a token, they're free money. I can just cycle through them in order to find more units, so it's really useful. Here I finally find my first 6 drop. As I said earlier, you do want to cycle through 6 drops to give you some direction. Buying and selling only costs you 1 gold, so it's pretty much rolling through 6 drops for 1 gold each. So I buy my first 6 drop and instantly I get rewarded. I find a Amalgadon, I find a Hook Tusk. These are both what I'm looking for. I buy the Hook Tusk first so I could play it and start getting gem generation, but I do realize a mistake where I wanted to have more buffs, more different tribes to buff my Amalgadon. So unfortunately, because I do this, I do have to sell my buddy here. That was a mistake. I only got 1 gem from that for purchasing or playing down that Hook Tusk early. I do get lucky. The last rotate before I sell my buddy is another Amalgadon, and I found another Seafood Slinger. I got insanely lucky here. But again, this game's always about finding or making the best of your situation. So I put myself in this spot where I could get lucky by getting to 6, by finding a 6 drop and rotating through them. So Here, I'm now very strong with 2 perfect golden Amalgadons. I completely destroy this guy. He's dead. We are going to begin rotating towards endgame. So I do have Hook Tusk, I do have Agam. I can continue using them to buff my units a little more, but with those 2 perfect Amalgadons, I do want to continue looking for more Amalgadons, looking for poisons, things to continue getting stronger. You always want to buy Primal Fin Lookouts, especially as Millhouse, because it's free. It costs 0 to you, and they can buff your Murlocs. And here are my Amalgadons. I do find a Caligos, which is very interesting. I could decide to rotate into dragons with 4 dragons, including Caligos. Looking back on it now, it was probably a good decision. I have so many battle cries. It was probably going to be giving me more buffs than Hook Tusk was. So in hindsight, I definitely should have bought that Caligos, but I do decide to skip on it, unfortunately. And I do look somewhere else to continue finding more gem generation to buff with my Agam, which again, probably not as optimal, but it was not a wrong choice too. There's a lot of options that you can take. The thing about Hearthstone is you have to be very flexible. You can't just force a build. You want to see all the available options and keep yourself open in order to win the game. Here I find another Seafood Slinger. I decide to freeze it by buying the Chargla and just holding on to buy that next turn. Because again, if I am able to find another Amalgadon, I could golden it, get a bunch of buffs, like Poison Amalgadons with Divine Shield. That's pretty much how you're going to be winning the game these days with so much power creep. Goodbye Reno, he's very, very small. Gonna be either top 3 or top 2 if one of these guys can get one shot. I'm in very good shape to win this game. So I'm gonna continue buying buffs. Again, with all these different minions costing only 1 gold for a buff, and with Hook Tusk where I want to be spending money, I'm going to be buying pretty much anything I can. So any tokens, like if you find Murazon, that's going to be free money again because it costs 0. I'm going to be buying all these buffs. I am going to actually start picking up Selflesses too. Towards the end of the game, Selfless is a very good unit. It's going to be able to Divine Shield one of my poisons or one of my minions with very high attack, especially if you can triple that or if you can find Baron. It's going to be really powerful. There was a pair for my, it's called Faceless, I think, but I am probably going to sell that soon, unfortunately, so did not decide to freeze. Freezing on Millhouse, really bad. You really only want to freeze for very good units or for triples. I do not like freezing because it costs an entire 2 gold and a free 2 gold that you would have got from the roll from every single new turn. So do not like freezing with Millhouse. If possible, just buy the unit. If not, I usually skip past freezing. So now we're towards endgame with the top 3. The goal, as I said earlier, you want to buy Selflesses, you want to triple it if possible. You also generally want to start rotating into poison. Endgame, if there's Murlocs, there's always going to be a Murloc in the end lobby with the top 2, top 3. And if not, there's going to be really big units, there's going to be poison Amalgadons, so you want to find poison. So finding that spore, 1/1 spore, is going to be really helpful for the end of the game as well. So we have Flurgo here. We know he's going to be playing poison Murlocs. We need to find poison as soon as possible. Rotating out that Faceless, we're definitely going to be rotating out our Hook Tusk very soon as well. So I do find a spore here, very good for me, and I will continue buffing my Agam because it buffs both my Amalgadons as well. So 1 gem giving +4/+4, also to my dragon. It's going to be very worth it. So finishing up my turn here, I do decide to get that last bacon relaxer before putting down my spore, and we'll see how. We're gonna have to take a quick look at Flurgo because we haven't seen him all game to be able to see what he looks like in order to better counter him for later. Here, positioning is very important. It really can cost you the game with bad positioning. So here I see he has one taunt. It has no divine shield. I know for next fight that when I face Flurgo, I will not want to play my Selfless first. I'm probably going to want to play either one of my Poison Divine Shield Amalgadons first, or one of my Poisons first to get rid of that Amalgadon before playing my Selfless, because hopefully my Selfless can pop either one of his little plants, or maybe if I'm lucky, can pop one of his Divine Shields. I face a dead guy, so I have a little bit more time to power up before I probably face Flurgo again. He's really strong. He's most likely going to be winning this fight. I screw up there. I wasted a gem. Not a big deal. But this time, buffs are not small little buffs like +1, +1, +4, +4. Not going to be as big of a difference, especially when you're playing against poisons. So now, again, towards that end game, you want to figure out how to win. So top of that Selfless, on top of that poison, I'm going to need to be really focusing on my positioning, figuring out the best position I can do to win the game. Here, I'm just cycling through buffs. Again, these buffs really don't matter. If anything, they might help like 0.1%. So I'm going to go ahead and just roll past that last really small buff. And I'm going to give my Spore a buff just in case someone runs Ghoul. It's going to be Ghoul Impervious. I did make a small mistake there where I could have been buffing my Murloc a little more. Lost a few buffs which really don't matter. So I play my SI Fin. My goal is to get that SI Fin procced so I can get full poison in order to face off against Flurgo. I do miss the 50-50 here. No poison, but I'm not worried about finding him poison because I only have one Murloc that needs poison, so it'll definitely get it by next turn. We were able to find another Spore. Very useful. We will eventually be selling our Agam. I know that Agam has done a lot for us. Probably big enough to kill all, most if not all of Flurgo's units, but I'm going to play it safe, and I'm just going to go ahead and play a Spore knowing that he has a full board of poison. Now, because I know that for last fight, Flurgo did have only one taunt that had no Divine Shield, I am going to start off with my Poison Divine Shield Agam so I can get a favorable trade before playing my Selfless for my other units to get poison.
Cut them down and leave them broken.
So I am going to be playing my second Spore, going to be buffing it with that one gem again to keep it vulnerable to Ghoul. Let's see how this fight goes. So he did get a Ghoul. He still doesn't have that Divine Shield on his Amalgadon, and I am able to get my Divine Shield to kill his Amalgadon, which is very helpful. I am going to be able to win this fight. It's going to be very close. I do not think I will be able to kill him, unfortunately. So yeah, I'm not going to be doing just the bare minimum damage to him. We will need to win at least one more fight. So now we know he does have a Ghoul. So we're going to be looking at things we could do to counter that. So again, putting a Divine Shield first, like a Amalgadon first, usually already a pretty good counter. He just got lucky by attacking first. Now finding a Nadina here is very good because Nadina is 3 Divine Shields. Even after he destroys my Divine Shields with his Ghoul, I can play my Dina and re-up all 3 Divine Shields, and that will probably be able to win me the game. Here I'm actually contemplating whether I sell a Poison 2/2 or a Selfless. The reason I'm thinking that because if I don't sell my Selfless, my Selfless can actually proc on my Nadina. I know those are low odds, but I decide I don't want to take that chance. I'd rather get a guaranteed +3 Divine Shields, and so I will play my Nadina. I get unlucky here again. He gets to attack first. If not, my Amalgadon would have killed his Amalgadon and then also re-upped its Divine Shield. I do realize now that instead of putting my Amalgadon first, I should have just put a 2/2 Spore and then Nadina second, so that guarantees that it keeps my Amalgadon alive. It probably would have killed Blurgle in this fight. Unfortunately, I did make that mistake. I do not put my Amalgadon first, and so because of that, he was able to get lucky and survive.
You're good at this.
So here, knowing that my Nadina might not proc because of all his all his little plants that he has, I'm looking for a Argus. I want to put Argus. I do catch my air, and I do put a Spore first now, and I'm looking for strictly just an Argus that I can taunt my Nadina.
Go ahead and hire one of these.
I get lucky here. I definitely find it. Here I can confidently say that I'm going to win the game. I also just buy those Burgurgles just for some buffs. I can also sell a Spore because my Siphon will be able to eventually proc and give poison to one of these Burgurgles. I buy some buffs. Again, they really make 0 difference when the entire board is poisoned, but I have some gold to spend, so why not? So I buy the Argus, and I'm thinking I know I need to taunt the Nadina, but I'm also contemplating if I should buff or taunt anything else, and I do decide with the few seconds I have left, I am going to be taunting a Spore. My reasoning for this is just that if he has that Ghoul, even if it attacks it, it's going to survive. If there's maybe 2 Ghouls, it'll survive. There's really not too much thought into it, but I'm going to put the Gurgles in the back just so I can increase my chance of getting it a poison. Although with all these taunts, I don't think it was going to make a big difference. So here he actually got rid of the Ghoul. I was a little surprised because I'm pretty sure that was what he needed to stay alive. So with that, I do, even with some bad hits, with his procs, I am able to easily secure this victory and win the game. So that's pretty much how you play Millhouse. Again, you want to be strong, get to level 6 early, use your buddy to cycle through some 6 drops while staying strong to find some endgame direction. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please feel free to leave some comments. And yeah, good luck with Millhouse.